you really have to stay open to redesigning your company to the sales that you can make. You need to allow sales to drive your infrastructure, not the other way around. Because if you build an infrastructure for something that nobody wants, you're going to have to change it.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 169. Are you looking to find your fortune in the drone industry? Then you're going to want to hear what today's guest has to say. Alan Beach has over 20 years' experience in starting and running successful businesses. He is a military veteran and served in the U.S. Coast Guard, flying hundreds of search and rescue missions out of Clearwater, Florida. After leaving the military, Alan earned his MBA and began working for IBM. In 1997, he and his wife Andrea decided to leave corporate America and strike out on their own with Argus Connection Incorporated. Argus quickly grew into a multi-million-dollar technology services company, which they eventually sold in 2009. After taking some time off, the couple started Argus Rising in 2015, a first responder drone training company. Alan and Andrea have also written 2 books. The first is Be a Wolf, the Entrepreneur's Guide to Becoming a Leader of the Pack, and Drone Startup 101, Finding Your Fortune in the Drone Industry. In this episode of the Drone Radio Show, Alan talks about his book, Drone Startup 101, and shares his insights into building a successful drone-based business based on his more than 20 years' experience as an entrepreneur. But before we hear from Alan, I want to thank those of you who have been supporting my funding campaign on Patreon. For as little as $1 per month, you can help defray the costs of production and keep the podcast going and growing. Go to patreon.com/Drone Radio Show to join the team. Also, Interdrone 2018. It's the largest commercial UAV and drone conference with nearly 3,500 attendees, 120 sessions, and more than 175 exhibitors. The show will be held in Las Vegas on September 5th through 7th. Make your plans now to attend. Now let's learn how we can find our fortune in the drone industry with Alan Beach. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Alan to introduce himself.
I'm Alan Beach, the founder of Argus Rising, drone company that provides first responder training. I'm also the co-author of Drone Startup 101, which is a book focused on starting a drone company, helping you find your fortune in the drone industry.
Alan, who is the other author?
Yeah, the other author is my wife, Andrea Beach. We are partners in life and partners in business. So we co-authored this book. We have another book, Be a Wolf, on Amazon that we wrote several years ago, and we co-authored that one as well.
Why did you write this book?
We've attended Interdrone for several years now. And one of the things we noticed at Interdrone is we've literally spoken to hundreds of people that show up at Interdrone. They see a huge potential in this market. They want to start a business around drones. They don't know where to start. They don't know what step 1 is, step 2 is. They don't know how to get started. And we've already written one entrepreneur book, Be a Wolf, on Amazon. And we decided to use those skills and our experience from starting Argus Rising, a drone company, to help those people get started.
Now, both of you have been involved in prior businesses. Can you share with us your experience as an entrepreneur?
Certainly. We started Argus Connection in 1997. We both spent a lot of years working for what I call corporate America, the standard job. We always both had a desire to do something else. We felt like there was something more than the 9-to-5 routine and retirement when it's time to retire. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It was just something that we felt we wanted to do differently. And so we made the leap back in 1997, started a technology services company. And that was our background. We're both technology services people, so we stuck to what we knew. The company grew very rapidly. Had the company for 12 years, sold it, took a break, wrote a book, got bored, started another company, Argus Rising, which eventually became the training company. Then when we met all of these people at Drone, you thought, maybe it's time to write another book, but specific to the drone industry, to see if we couldn't take our skills and knowledge, pass those on to some of the younger people who want to start a business.
Based on your experience, what key advice would you give to people who want to start a business today?
And we see a common thread throughout people wanting to start a business, and that is they want to focus their time on building infrastructure. And when I say building infrastructure, okay, I want to start a drone company. Well, first, I need to own a drone. So they go and purchase a drone, and they think, well, what services am I going to provide? Maybe I need a camera. Maybe I need something else. What am I going to mount on my drone to provide some sort of service? And so then they purchase that, and then they get trained, and they get their FAA license, and they go to a number of classes, and they build a website, and they build a Facebook page. And so they've got all that in place. And then they're waiting on business, and business doesn't show up. And it's just a real common thread we see. They've spent their money, they've spent their time building infrastructure, and they never spend time doing sales. And you have to actively go do sales. I know people are, to some extent, afraid of sales, right? Nobody likes to hear no multiple times. But you have to do sales. You have to do marketing, but you also have to do sales. And you should really, and this is one of the things that we teach, is you should really allow sales to build your infrastructure, not the other way around.
So are you suggesting that a person should actually try to find sales before they even buy a drone? How would that work?
Good question. And it's one of the things we teach is to rethink your strategy. Okay, you want to move to the next level. You want to start a company. You see the potential in the drone industry, so that's what you've chosen. But you need to rethink your strategy before you move forward. And it's sometimes hard to convince people, but the answer to your question is yes. You literally go do sales before you purchase a drone. And people feel like, okay, you're asking me to sell a product that I don't have yet. And that's not exactly accurate. It's not something you're going to sell that you can't fulfill. Maybe you'll fulfill it by subbing to somebody else that already does it, and over time work that into your company. But that allows the sale to drive the infrastructure of your company.
So, for example, if someone is interested in the real estate sector, they could start by selling the service, but not actually doing it themselves. I mean, they could contract with someone else, but at least they get focused on making the sales, which drives their business and goes to your point.
That's exactly right. And we strongly recommend that. And I know that sounds backwards to some people, but when you look at the companies that we have successfully built, that is exactly how we built them. Is that first engagement, second engagement, third engagement, wherever it makes sense, sub it out to somebody that does a good job, pass down the terms and conditions that they give you to your client, go out and do sales. And at the end of the day, if you can't do sales, don't invest your money, because it's going to be equipment and websites and Facebook pages that just sit.
How does starting a business today compare to when you launched your first company?
It's changed significantly, both good and bad, as one might expect. The good part of what's changed is social media is so much stronger than it was back in 1997. And social media allows you to do inexpensive marketing that we couldn't do back then. So social media, you can design a company, you can do a website, you can make yourself look like a really strong ongoing company, which you need to do, right? You can have all the tools that the big players have. And that's something we couldn't do back in 1997. So a lot of benefits in the social networking aspects of today versus 1997.
Is the book geared to sole proprietorships or to larger businesses?
It's really across the board. And we like to say that we will help you find success the way you define it. And the fact of the matter is you can talk to 5 people and all 5 will define it differently. One person will be retired and will be, I want to own my own drone and I want to do photography, or I want to do some other services, or I want to do crops and agriculture. And they don't want to ever be anything past maybe working 2 days a week because they're retired. And that's their definition of success. And then you'll talk to somebody else that sees enormous opportunity in this, almost like the internet in 1994, 1995. They recognize potential opportunity that can take them into the millions and multi-millions of dollars, and we can help you design that as well.
Now, the name of the book is Drone Startup 101, Finding Your Fortune in the Drone Industry. What's in it?
It's the distillation of the experience we had in starting our own drone business and our original business back in 1997. So we have the advantage of two companies that we've started, have gotten both up running successfully. And it's a distillation of everything that we've learned during that time. But more specifically, it's things like drone opportunities. There are so many drone opportunities that people don't know where to start. It's like walking into a cluttered room and go, I need to clean this room up. Where do I start? Not a bad analogy. So we help them select what's right for them. It's not so much maybe what you want to do, because you think, well, this is what I want to do. But maybe what you want to do isn't right for you. And we try to convince people you should do what you know, right? So what do you know, and how do we interface a drone into that? Because that's really where you should start. Some of the other things we cover are how to build a competitive advantage. It's already a very competitive market, and you've got to build a competitive advantage. You've got to decide what your niche is going to be and get very good at it. We've done an interesting chapter in this book that we didn't do in the first one. It's called Trailblazers. And Trailblazers, we went out and interviewed 3 founders of successful drone companies. It is my favorite chapter in the book. It was a lot of fun talking to these founders, the things that they had gone through. And I think one of the reasons I enjoyed it so much is there's sort of a common language among people who have founded companies, who have started companies. And you recognize all of the things that they've had to go through, all of the barriers that they've run into. But then we do marketing on a shoestring, the hunt for startup capital, a lot of the usual things that you have to go through in starting a company.
From your perspective, is there a difference between doing what you know and doing what you love?
There can be. And I think you have to be careful with that, because people lean towards what they love. Now, quite often what they love, they've been doing, right? No matter what it is, they have found ways to work that in as a hobby or something else. So quite often those two things line up, but sometimes they don't. So you just have to evaluate, does that line up for your skill set, something you can move forward with and actually start a company with?
Who would benefit most by reading your book?
Good question. I'm not sure of the answer, since I'm sort of on the author end of it, I guess. But we tried to write it from the standpoint of, if anyone has had a desire to be an entrepreneur and they see the drone industry as an opportunity, then no matter where they're at, no matter, they're working full time, they're retired, that they could pick this book up and it would be a starting point for them to move forward. So we really try to design it across the board for anybody that is interested in doing something like this.
Maybe this speaks to the chapter on the Trailblazers, but are there certain traits that are common among successful entrepreneurs? There
is, and it's not really background. Sometimes you think, well, entrepreneurs have a certain background, or they have an MBA, or they have something, and it really never falls around those type of criteria. It more falls around the type of person that it is, and it starts with desire, and that is the desire and the feeling that there's something else out there besides what I do today. Maybe I'm not sure what that is, but I know it's there. And I know I want to do something else other than what I'm doing today. And I'm willing to make some sacrifices to get there. I think one of the other traits that we've seen is people that are willing to redesign their current schedule to make things happen. And that is, if you want to accomplish any goal, you have to find time to fit that into your current schedule. Maybe you look at watching television, Facebook time. You just look at all the activities that you have in the day. None of us have time to start a business. So you have to be willing to rearrange your day and decide what it is you're not going to do, because there's going to be a lot of other things that you're doing, and you have to make time for that. Those are the type of people that you see that become successful in any business.
Have you ever encountered a situation where a person has become so emotionally attached to a particular direction that it's hard for them to see that it's not working? And if so, how does someone break out of that mindset and move their business forward?
It's one of the things we address in the book, because we've seen it a number of times. And that is, we've been around a lot of entrepreneurs that have started other companies. And it's actually more common than you think it might be. And that is, they go through all the trouble of doing a business case. They were told to do a business case. So they write it up. It gives them direction. It gives them a format for running their company. And they take off and they really stick to their business case. And some opportunity will come along and they'll go, well, we don't do that. We don't provide that service. And maybe they should be providing that service. Maybe you need to do a reevaluation because maybe you're not getting business on the business case that you designed. You really have to stay open to redesigning your company to the sales that you can make. And that goes back to my original comment. You need to allow sales to drive your infrastructure, not the other way around. Because if you build an infrastructure for something that nobody wants, you're going to have to change it. So go do sales, let sales drive your infrastructure, and you sort of avoid that trap that people fall into that says, I'm selling A, everybody wants to buy B, but hey, I'm selling A. I'm not going to switch over to B because I did a business case that says I'm selling A. And you have to be more flexible in that. You have to let your clients design your business.
I think that's so important today, especially in the drone sector, because the industry is in so much flux. Seems like every week something is dynamically changing.
That is correct. This industry is moving very, very fast. And to allow yourself to get pigeonholed into a business case that you wrote when there are other opportunities sliding by you would be a mistake.
How long did it take you and your wife to write the book?
Let me back up a little before I answer that and go back to our original book, which is Beowulf, which is The Entrepreneur's Guide to Becoming a Leader of the Pack, available on Amazon. That book just about killed us. It took, I can't even add up all the hours that it took to write Beowulf. And it was our first book, and it was just a major effort. When we got around to writing Drone Startup 101, we knew what to do. We knew how to move forward. The second time for anything is much easier. And we probably wrote Drone Startup 101 in about 4 months. Not full time, but a significant amount of time over a 4-month period. There's a lot to writing a book. There's the draft, the editing, the final, getting to what it is you want it to say. So it's labor intensive.
Did anything come out of the writing process that you didn't anticipate going in?
A couple of things. Trailblazer section, that's my favorite. And it's sort of interesting because when we started writing, actually, I'll back up again on Beowulf. After we finished the Beowulf book, we said, we are never going to write another book, right? It was just labor intensive. But over the years, we got a lot of really positive feedback. And then we started our drone business. We were at Dinner Drone, and we were talking to all these people that needed guidance and getting the drone business started. So we said, okay, let's write one more book, Drone Startup 101. So we finished Drone Startup 101. And from the onset, we said, that's it. 2 books. We're not writing another book. So we had so much fun doing the Trailblazer section, going out and interviewing founders of drone companies, that we are going to write a 3rd book. So the 3rd book is going to be American Trailblazers. And it's going to be dedicated to interviewing founders of successful businesses, people who have perhaps dropped out of what you think of as corporate America, the standard jobs, and gone out and successfully started their own companies. And it's going to have 10 to 12 chapters, and that's all it's going to be. So we have a 3rd book in the works, and we never intended to have a 3rd book in the works. So,
will that book focus on successful businessmen across industries or just the drone industry?
No, we're going to do cross-industry on it. There's going to be drone companies in it, but we're going to do cross-industry. It's going to be more focused on people that have just decided they want to do something else and successfully managed to do it. It's going to be an inspirational book as opposed to a how-to book.
You and your wife have been business partners for a long time, producing 3 businesses and 2 books. What advice would you offer to other husband and wife business partnerships?
Good question. We don't recommend it for everyone. I think there's potential conflict there, and I think you have to be careful. On the other hand, for some couples like us, it works extremely well. And the advice that we give is to separate your company. When I say separate your company, we're talking to a couple that are looking to start a company. Decide who's good at what. And the best example I can give is our personal interest in what we're personally good at. And that is, I'm good outbound. I'm good at sales. I'm good at operations. And that's primarily what I do. She's very, very good at infrastructure, making the business run, accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, taxes, et cetera, et cetera. She's extraordinary at it. And so I don't touch that piece of the business. She lets me do sales. I let her do infrastructure. We don't interfere with each other, and the company runs. So that's what you have to do. You have to decide who owns what and allow them to use their skills and move that section forward.
Interdrone will be held in Las Vegas on September 5th through the 7th, and you're going to be leading a session. What's the topic?
The session is a pre-conference session. So it's the day before the actual conference starts, so you'll need your pre-conference pass to attend. It's 3 hours. We are very excited to be at 2018 Interdrone. We've attended a number of them, and this is finally going to give us an opportunity to talk en masse to all those people we've been talking to over the years that have been saying, I want to start a drone company. How'd you do it? How did you decide what to do? And we finally get to have a format where we get a chance to talk to those people, and we're excited about doing that.
So it's sort of a live version of what's in the book.
That's exactly right. And it's really about not just the drone business, but moving your life to the next level, doing something differently than what you're doing today. And so like I said, we're excited about doing this session with all of those people that have any interest or perhaps have a drone company and are trying to figure out how to move it to the next level. So we're excited about that.
Now, the focus of the book is about starting a business, but what about growing a business? What do people need to do to move their business to the next level?
Yes, and you're right. It's one thing to start a company, a drone company, and maybe you get one contract and you fulfill it, and maybe you have a couple more in the pipeline. You really have to pay attention to leveraging that business into future business. And you do that in two ways. One, you do it with whoever you did business with, right? There may be more business there. You want really happy customers. But then you make sure that you really tell the story of what it is you did for each client so that you make each client a reference. It's interesting. One of the things we found is the more business that you have, the more business you have access to. And it just has held true in our company. So if I have one customer, I have access to additional business from that customer, plus I can use that customer to gain additional business from other customers. If I have 10 customers, then my access to sales should be times 10. And in fact, is times 10 as long as you're doing your job right.
Alan, is there anything that we missed that we should talk about?
Maybe just one final note, and that is if you look at who we are, and that is myself and Andrea, my wife, we are in what I call the fourth quarter of life. I don't think she likes that reference, but we are in the fourth quarter of life. And one of the things that we really wanted to do is we really wanted to be able to give back all of the things that we've been able to do over the years and all of the success. And for those people who want to follow in our footsteps, become an entrepreneur, start a business, we really want to help those people get that started. And we want to positively impact lives. So like I said, we're excited about attending Interdrone and having the opportunity to do that.
That's it for episode 169 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Alan Beach and learning how to build a successful drone-based business. I want to thank Alan for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about the book, Drone Startup 101, or want to connect with Alan, check out the webpage at bawolf.com. And remember, Alan will be at Interdrone 2018 in Las Vegas on September 5th through the 7th. To register for the event, go to interdrone.com. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1 per month, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to patreon.com/Drone Radio Show. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.